Hey guys, Adam Savage here in my cave. This is a funny one. This is a funny one. This is an interesting one because I've already shot the opening of this and then I abandoned it. Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave, and we're going to the Matrix. We're going to the magnificent, incredible, beautiful world of the Matrix created by the Wachowskis. I don't think we need to argue about the fact that the Matrix is one of the great films ever made. 100%. And I was watching it recently because I watch it frequently, and I came across a prop in it that I don't think anyone has ever replicated. So I decided that that is exactly the kind of thing that I like to sink my teeth into. And the prop is the EMP button. It's a key part of the last couple of minutes of the narrative of the Matrix. Sorry, spoilers. Morpheus has got his hand on the EMP button that sends out an electromagnetic pulse which disables any electronics, including the own ship's electronics, but it will kill the Sentinels that are on their way to kill Neo. I was looking at the EMP button and I was thinking, I'll bet if I did some screenshots and lightened them up in Photoshop, I'd be able to see more detail. And see more detail I did. So here is the EMP button. It's got a clear cover that rises up. There's a little catch there that releases it. Once it's up, there's this lit button. I looked through about 1 million, okay, maybe 300 different two-position lit switches before I found the right one. And I really did find the right one. This is it. This is absolutely it. Yep. I'm not sure I think at any rate, yeah, it's 110 volts. So I got to figure out a way to make this light up. Easy, not so much of a problem. But then I was confronted with these guys, these little things. And I actually tweeted and asked for some help locating. And I got something that I thought was really close. I believe that these are the buttons, these were the droids I'm looking for. But it's not quite. See that step there? It's not there. So like I thought the last time I started this build, I thought, oh, I've got the dial buttons. And then I started to unpack it and I realized I didn't have the dial buttons and I didn't want to proceed. I know that I have this reputation for extreme fidelity, which is funny because I also don't mind compromising. I really don't. But in this regard, I couldn't let it go. Even though these were close, they weren't close enough. And I spent another few hours online digging and I found them. Reader, I found them. I have looked through so many. I might be able to provide a link to these, but, I'm not sure I can. But these are without a doubt, in my opinion, absolutely these buttons. And I'm going to endeavor now because I think I have the dials, I have the switch, and I have the project box that I think is the correct size and scale for the EMP button. And we are going to we're gonna build one. That's what we're going to do right now. One of the first things to do is I want to make this aluminum plate that sits on top of the project box. Sits on top of there and creates a little step for the hole. So I've started that process in this piece of aluminum and I'm going to continue that process. Yeah, I'm going to grab a nibbler. Oh, I already made these marks. Look at that. I already made them. Oh, good. This is an electronics tool called a notcher, and these are phenomenal little machines. So here's how it works. It's got a little, here's how it works. Come on, focus. You basically squeeze the handle and it pulls this little piece down and bites a little chunk out of the aluminum. Very, very low impact way to make nice square holes, which is why you use them for electronics projects. All right. Square holes are a very frequent thing you need for electronics projects. And they can be a real pain in the ass. A notcher makes quick work of it. And there are lots of different kinds of notchers. I find them in general to often be, like the old ones that Radio Shack used to sell were very poor quality. But this black kind I find is the one I like the best. All right, it's got a little bit of a angle there. Okay. That file. Good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's actually right. Okay. So, yep. You know what? Watch this. I love this thing. This is a little baby shear. All right. It slices metal very precisely and quietly. And just goes like this. Come on. Come on. There you go. Takes off a piece like that. Oh, yeah. Really nice. Good. I like how that looks. On this device, there is 2 dials, a 3rd dial, a catch here, and then there's this big square platform for the amp button. And I can figure out its size by, just by some extrapolation. So it's going to be like that. Let's see. And then that one sits right there. And then that one sits there. I think it's square. And I think if it comes to wait a second, it's not square. I mean, parallaxing would make that, yeah. Okay, so 4.5 by 3.75. See, that's often when I feel like I know I've gotten close to the right thing, when my guesstimates are very close to whole numbers, because we all like working in whole numbers. 3.75. I mean, when you're handing something off to somebody and saying, hey, come on over here, I need you to cut a hole out of this. And they say, what size? You're not going to go 3.34987. You're going to go 4.5 by 3.75. Cut me a square of that. If I was doing this, it's probably half-inch acrylic. That's what it really is. Even better, even better. I've got some 1/2-inch Sintra. This is really fun stuff. Easy to work with, easy to cut. Paints well, sands well, screws well, just the best. Sintra is also, it's a foam PVC. So I'll cut a piece of that. All right, so there's that piece, and on top of that, there is a step back. Okay, ooh, right, that's what I want. The step back is about the same as that. Yeah, I think that's right. Oh yeah, 1/4 inch. Again, whole numbers, whole numbers. So then if that is 4.5, 3.75, the step back is 4 by 3.25. And then there's one more aluminum plate on top of this that is ever so slightly smaller. And it would be, yeah, that and that. All right. Nice. Right, good. All right, that is the major chunks of that. I'm giving a 5/8 inch radius to the base piece and a half inch radius to the piece on top of it. If I gave them both the same radius, I think you'd notice that they didn't quite step. And if I screwed up, Sintra is inexpensive. A thing about using whole numbers for your measurements, and I've talked about this in the past, one of the great pleasures in replicating NASA hardware is whenever I have had access to original pieces of NASA hardware to measure off of, everything was in whole numbers, half inch, 5/8, 3/8, that kind of thing. And from a maker, like I talk about cleaning your shop as a way of saying thank you and paying homage to future you. That's the same thing that's happening with NASA engineers. They're not just like giving a gift to future engineers. They're making sure their work is replicable. Yeah, and that's really significant. So like, I love when I default to using whole numbers when I can, because I'm assuming that that's where everyone else started. All right, so let's cut these radii, and then it's time to start to cut the hole out of this thing, and then start to make the thing. Okay, so this will sit up against this right there, which means I'll need a hole cut out of this thing that is like almost that big, and the same thing below it. Well, let's do the radii first. I'm starting to second guess myself about these dials. Are they actually the right dials? It might be that this little step down is flatter on the real thing, but I'm close enough. I'm moving forward. I'm not going to pause this a second time because I don't have to be that crazy. I can be crazy, but not that crazy. That was about as much as that blade could handle, but I got a nice I got a nice hole there. I'll clean that up. Extreme downward pressure. You know, you can always use the foot for this, but I tend to like to just use my hands and go real slow. I love scroll saws. Tom Sachs introduced me to this particular scroll saw, which I really like. And a few years ago, we were at Anderson Ranch together. Anderson Ranch? Yeah, over in Aspen, Arts Colony. And I did a whole bunch of cutting for him on his alien cat carrier. Yeah. All right, so I'll just file that to clean that up a little bit. But if I did this right, it should sit right in there. All right. Excellent. Now they're all aligned, and I can do A. I'll know that those all line up like that. Bingo, bango, bongo. Figure out the position it needs to be in. The problem. Yeah, the problem is that this melts. Yeah, but that should do it. Excellent. That is going too fast, so let's go a little slower. Huh. Gotta put that one out too. Oh, whoops. Okay, good. Moving along. We got one there, we got one there, and we got one there. We'll have that switch and the catch there. Now, normally, you should never chuck a milling bit into a drill chuck. Just don't do it. It's bad practice. However, doesn't really matter here. Very slow. Good, right? Okay, good, yeah. And so then, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, plus a little bit. Bandsaw noises. Okay, off camera, I completed bending the square that will sit here and be the hinged mechanism of the door that opens, right? There's that. Excellent. And then I also, on the scroll saw, I cut out the top, which is just a frame of aluminum, and I'm going to JB weld it onto there. And then, then we are going to vacuum form the protective covering of this. And then once I've got that, well, I also have to make the catch here. But I think the very next thing is to JB weld these two pieces together so that they become one. Okay, let me get a little better shot here. I'm just working hard to put a little bit of this epoxy all the way around the perimeter here. The more I have a grab, the more positive this join will be. It's not my most ideal. I don't like using glue for something like this, but I really can't think of any other way to get these two parts to play well together. Okay. I'm going to attach these wires to this light. I don't need any of the switch mechanics for this. I only need this part. So that's actually really great. That makes my job a lot easier. Now, before I heat shrink this together, we're going to test it, because you always test every time for every step. Let's see here. Positive and negative. There it is. Excellent. All right, now I want to heat shrink that. This is some heat shrink tubing that shrinks more than your average bare heat shrink tubing. I think this is 4-to-1, where it's usually 3-to-1. I found it recently, and I wanted that much more insurance. There we go. Oh, I'm very happy with how that shrinks. Wunderbar. That's great. We have functionality. Okay, let's make sure we have power still, because we test every single time at every single stage. Hot. And not, oh, whoops, sorry. Why am I apologizing to you? There we go. That is excellent. All right, very happy with that. Okay, next phase is the cover. And for that, I'm going to vacuum over this thing. Let's see here. This is a dental vacuum former, and it actually gets quite warm. I really like this thing. All right, that's hot. Bring that over here. If this doesn't work for me, I will just use the, oh, wow. Interesting. Wow, I don't even need that thing. I could just go, oh, well, I am going to do it. I'll use the whole thing. Okay, let's, nope, that didn't work. Ah, that was terrible. Okay, no good, no good. This may be too tight a form to pull on this, but we're going to try some PETG. We'll leave the heat on. Polyethylene tetrachloride glycol? Is that what this is? I think so. I'm not positive, but I think that it may be too big a buck to pull in this vacuum former. I'll just pull out my other one if I need to. Oh, darn it. No. Yeah, no. I was too optimistic. All right. I am going to do this one using a helper. That is, once this goes down, I'm going to push that down over the plastic before turning on the fan, and that should give me a lack of webbing. I don't want any webbing here. I really don't. We'll see if I can avoid it. You never leave your vacuum former. Every time I do, I would forget it was there, and I would end up with all this melted plastic. I did it several times. I did it many, many times. I always felt dumb. So now I just sit and watch it. I watch that pot boil. This thing has served me well for coming on now 25 years. Okay, we are almost there. Here we go. Right. All right, here we go. And down and... It's a lovely morning. I am excited to see how my glue up went. All right, let's get this going there. There. Feels good and solid. Look, normally I don't love glue as a solution. I do even have some aluminum brazing, but I'm not good enough with it to have experimented with it on this. This is like a JB Weld. Oh, whoops, hold on. This glue is like a JB Weld. It's made for aluminum. And I had contact all the way around, and that makes a difference. I feel like that will be relatively robust. I got a good vacuform pull. I wish I had some thinner PETG, but I don't. And I'm actually, wow, I'm really happy with how that looks, man. That's freaking, we're getting somewhere. We're getting kind of hectic. All right. So let's see here. And so now I want to glue that in. The problem with using crazy glue or CA glue on a clear plastic is it tends to fog plastic. And if I get fog in there, it's no good. You might be wondering how I'm planning to do the red stripes here. I actually found that you can buy, I've always known you could buy clear laser printer paper. I've recently found you could buy clear sticky laser printer paper. So I'm gonna print the red stripes that are here and stick them down on all 5 sides. And I do believe I've determined that there's actually, it says EMP here, so I'll do that as a Photoshop thing. I have pulled out my torsion springs and I've put one right into the center here of my hinge pivot. And I think you'll see that it, hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Thank you. My hairs are, well, it's the morning. Good morning. There we go. Whoop. Yep. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. That's what it is. Okay, so now look what it is. Yeah. I don't have to paint this thing. This thing is all what color it's going to be. Once I have this in, then I can make a little catch out of bent aluminum that holds on to this. This is a really fun one. I love that I haven't found anyone that's ever replicated this. And I don't know why I like, we like braving new territory. We're explorers. We're human beings. We're shooting some VR stuff later today, but I came in extra early just so I could play around with this. Most of my springs are like these kind of spring assortments, right? Like the kinds you can get at the Home Depot or Lowe's or Harbor Freight, all the same. They all come from the same place. And there's not a lot of variation in them. So recently I've been just buying eBay lots of used springs that, repair people are pulling out of equipment. And that got me the torsion spring that I needed. Little springs in little places is a very, very tough bit of mechanical work. Spring return and stuff like that is, it's always been, each of these things is like, in order to do mold making, you have to be able to think upside down and backwards. You have to think of the object that you're casting, the inverse of it, which will be the mold you're casting into. And then you need to think about where the inverse of the thing that you're casting will lead to air bubbles when it's upside down and backwards when you're pouring resin into it. So you can add vents and you can choose an orientation that minimizes all that cleanup, right? So the whole orientation is like seeing backwards in time. And springs are a whole different mental orientation. There is like, you want to think about, you look at a spring and it's like, okay, this spring has you look at this spring, it's got a home position, but how am I going to use its home position to stay where I want it to stay and give me a little bit of pressure where I need it? For some reason, I can't just visualize it. I can't even just draw it out. I have to just start experimenting and playing around with it and making little bends. But I am very pleased. Here, I'll show you what I did. So what you can see that I did there is I'm pivoting the spring on the main axle of the hinge, as it were, the stainless steel pin. And then I buried part of it into a hole here between these two things. That's a nice positive grab. It's glued and it's riveted. So we started out with a little paper template, and now we have a aluminum piece. I'm gonna remove some of the marking fluid. Okay. First bend is successful. Now we're gonna bend it like this. Oh, right. So let's get a center mark here. I don't want a tight bend. I want an actual radius here. And so I'm just going to creep up on it. Oh, it's working good. I'm happy. There we go. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. That's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I can make some small adjustments. And I think actually I've got it a little too tall. So I think I can actually, yeah. I can actually bring it down a little bit. All right. There is first part of that. And then there's this part, which is, right. Okay, so that gets a little back bend because it's got a, yeah. So the hole here goes about here, and I cannot see what the catch looks like, but I'm gonna let it come out a little bit. I do. Look at that. I do have tiny rivets.
Tiny bubbles.
Oh, yeah, I can totally make that work. This is awesome. Here we go. So now it's time to measure. There it is. All right. Next step is to glue in this bad boy. Then I'll let it sit overnight. I feel like we're doing good. I'm really happy with the progress so far. I need to start painting some of this stuff in order to get it properly assembled. I can't do final assembly unless some of this is painted. I have some hardware to install. So I'm just going to be doing some disassembly and some reassembly with some painting in between here. Square hole. Red. I added a little spring button in here that gives this a spring return. I know I probably should have made this a little wider and added in a little torsion spring, but I didn't get around to doing that, so I just did this. It's just a little standoff with a spring at the bottom of it. Yeah, I know I did it off camera. I'm sorry. But now it's nice and secure. So I think I might be able to almost start to mount this thing. Yeah. Even better. Okay, so I have to switch this around. Let's see here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so that's good. I think it might be time to glue that down. I'm going to use some thin double stick tape. Oh, there we go. Okay, so. All right, right, we got to get it lit. No matter how much I use other electronics, I still love these little wire lugs. Excellent. All right. So now, a couple of other things to do here before it's complete. But let's put this together. Let's just get this a little bit together because that's exciting. Ooh, ooh. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh. All right, another part made off camera. In here, you can see this little 3. It's like a counter. Couldn't find a counter that matched, so I took a little bit of Delrin and I made a little thing. I'm going to actually make the 3 in Photoshop and make just a little sticker that goes over this. But first, I'm going to glue it in. Yeah, I'm going to glue it in. Again, I don't love using glue, but I'm also at the tail end of this and it's never getting any pressure. Most of my attachments in here are mechanical. I'm so close. So close. The Sentinels are on their way. Ooh, we're on the home stretch. And in order to give it these red striped bits of tape that are here, I already knew you could laser print on acetate. I didn't know you could also buy sticky acetate, sticky, clear sticker paper. So this is made for my laser cutter. It's transparent, and it allowed me to do the red stripes here. And maybe what you couldn't tell, but one of the things that I determined, there it is if you look, yes, if you look closely here, up here, you can see that it is a square that says EMP. Boom! Booyah! I just love figuring stuff like that out. So I'm going to do a little Photoshop work right now. Stripes equal 0.18 inches wide. And then the EMP sign, which looks like it comes out to close to the edges here. So I'm going to say that's 2 inches by 2 inches. Let's do 2 inches square on that. Actually, let's do 2 by 2.1. Font nerds. Yeah. It looks to me like the sides of the M are slanted inwards. And that is a very telltale sign. It doesn't look like they're perfectly vertical. It's hard to tell, but it looks like they're slightly slanted, which would make it possibly future art, which is one of my favorite typefaces anyway. Okay, let's get the computer. All right, well, look, the stripes are great. I think they're great. I'm just gonna take a quick look at them. Yeah, so that's like, well, ideal. However, what you can see happened here is that the stripes,
Yeah, the toner didn't set. Ay. Okay, so I don't know how to set my toner. I think I may need a laser cutter that has a hotter toner temperature. Because when I was looking up sticker paper, you look up the Amazon reviews of these, and you'll find most people are like, this worked great. And then a bunch of people were like, didn't get hot enough to heat set, and the stuff all wears away. If you have a recommendation for a laser printer, a consumer laser printer that gets nice and hot, like a professional one, in fact, I'll even go so far as to say this. I'm going to do a separate video about this, but what I'm really looking for is an 11x17 laser printer that gets good and hot, like a real professional machine. I'm willing to spend the money on it because I have enough of a need for it. But I will tell you, if you go Google large format laser printer, you are going to find an astonishing array of things that are not laser printers. It is astounding. All right, well, that worked somewhat. Look, this is a worn out prop. I'm about to, once I put the tape on here and make this last button, I'm going to weather the crap out of this. So I'm not too worried about that spot right there. I'm making all my cuts on the outside. I'm not putting my ruler over the image. All right. Oh, that's great. All right. Let's get some stripes on there. Oh, hey. Okay. Okay, dude, there it is. Oh, wait, that's on. All right. Back off again. One last button to make here. That is the button I'm trying to replicate. It's a barrel like this, except it's got a notch milled out of two sides so you can turn it. It's got a screw in the tip. You can see I've put the screw in the tip. I know that I've seen this button somewhere. I know that I have seen the piece of electronics that goes on, but of all the screenshots I've done, this is the best one I could get. I know it's got fluted sides, so I'm about to do that on my mill, and then I'll take down the two sides. So I'm just having to hand build this. I wish I could find it. And if you know what it is, let me know. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to chuck this into the mill right now with my rotary thingy. Don't mean to get technical on you. Yeah, here we go. Yep, that's good. Okay, so 15 degrees. Here we go. 15. Oh, right, I want to do 30. Oh, that's great. I think 30 degrees is one of the automatics. So now what I'm doing is I'm just actually trying to figure out exactly, using my eye, how much I want that step to come in. I think it's about like there. Okay, now we're going to flip it 180. Yeah, all right. I'm pleased with that. I'm going to soften this up and do a little bit of radiusing on some of this as best I can. And then I'm just going to slice it and it'll mount right in. Here is the button so far. So I can see in this that it doesn't look like it's much higher than these buttons here, than these dials. So I'm going to make it about that height. I'm going to cut this right about there. There we go. I'm just going to round those on a Scotch wheel. Here, let's go all the way. All right. All right. Ta-da! So, I think it exists kind of like about there. Nice. Good. I do believe it's time for the weathering, which is always going to be the most fun part. Lit, unlit, lit, unlit. Okay. Oh, all right. The first stage of the weathering is going to be getting this texture on there. That's going to be that's the most distinctive. Once I have that, everything else is pretty easy. This is the last thing I need, and it goes there. See? There it is. There's my little number. Oh, that's your little number. Dude. Oh, yeah. Oh, kill the Sentinels. Dude. I'm so happy. This is amazing. I just love these deep cut props, man. They make me super, super jazzed. I got the dials. I got the thing. If you can remember what kind of switch this is, I'd love to know about it. That just every single time slays me. Dude, yes. Yes, we can. We can destroy the Sentinels. Have you watched The Matrix recently? It is still a perfect movie. A perfect movie. A perfect movie. I'm very happy with this. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Let me know your recommendation about professional large format laser printers with nice hot actions. I'm Adam Savage, and this has been one of the deeper cut one-day builds in a long time, and that's saying a lot. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you